Celtics fans need to stop this. I've been seeing on Twitter, the YouTube comments, Instagram, everywhere, fans complaining about how this team is still not built for an NBA championship and still complaining about nitpicky things when the Celtics are doing the right things in these big games. The Celtics are winning in the clutch, and they're proving to everybody that they still are a top team to win the championship, and I don't know why everyone's overreacting and freaking out. We're going to be diving in, looking at this response, and giving some points on why this Celtics team is built to be the champions this year. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. Before we get into all of this Celtics news, I'd like to say that 73% of our viewers are not subscribed. So if you do enjoy our videos, if you do check out on this Celtics content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We'll be having a watch-along stream tonight with the Celtics versus Pistons. If that interests you, make sure to join us and check out our other links in the description down below. But without further ado, let's dive in. Make sure to grab a snack, as this is going to be a jam-packed episode as we dive in on how Celtics fans need to stop overreacting. And like I mentioned in the introduction, I've seen some comments on YouTube. I've seen posts on Twitter, people complaining about how the Celtics almost choked a 20-point lead versus the Milwaukee Bucks when they had no Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I understand that that is a thing that we have to look at. But the Celtics won the game in the clutch and had fantastic numbers with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown leading this team to a victory. If I call you out on here, I'm not being rude to you. I just have to give some people some shine. But we have one here from Supersizing saying they're an incredible regular season team. Yeah, they've been fantastic in the regular season the last couple of years. Obviously, they have a 10-game lead over any other team in the Eastern Conference over now, and a 7-game lead over anybody in the whole NBA. Yeah, people are saying, oh, we can't do things in the playoffs, but we've made 3 Eastern Conference finals in the last 4 years, which shows you postseason success is fantastic. The Celtics have made the playoffs for 10 straight years. And if you want to come out here and say, oh, it's just the playoffs, oh, they haven't won a ring, making the playoffs is very hard for a team to do multiple seasons in a row. And for the Celtics to do it for a straight decade is just unfathomable and something you don't hear every single day. This team is built to make deep runs, and they will make these deep runs. Last year with Joe Mazzulla, he got thrown into that coaching staff, and the Celtics almost won a series that they were down 3-0 in. Should they have been down 3-0? Definitely not. But having some inexperiences with this squad, they showed us that they can fight back and win. And this year, they've already started that hype train already, having the best record. I am not scared with this team. We have another comment here from Supremacy saying 0-2 against Denver and yet to beat OKC, and nearly choked against Minnesota at home, and nearly lost against Milwaukee without Giannis. Man, handle those teams first, then, and only then I can say this team is, how you put it, a beast. Now, again, I want to talk about the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are the reigning NBA champions, and not just the Boston Celtics, but nobody has a stop for Nikola Jokic. It's like Giannis Antetokounmpo in those MVP runs just a couple years back. You have to be able to contain him, but there is no stopping Nikola Jokic. Therefore, for the Boston Celtics, they're going to have to run a lot of experimental things if the Celtics do see them. You say they haven't beaten OKC? Yes, they have not, but that was one game on the road where we did not beat OKC, and that's when they were on a really good hot streak. The Celtics get to play against OKC in April again, and I guarantee you the Celtics will be able to bounce back versus that. And you say not being able to beat a good team like Minnesota. Minnesota has the #1 defense across the entire NBA. And let's not forget that, yes, the Celtics did lose their first matchup, but in that second matchup, who was the ones to go off to win that game for the Boston Celtics? The Jays, the people that we say are our 1A and 1B, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, they showed up and went clutch. And Celtics fans will always come out here and say, oh, Jayson Tatum didn't win this game first. Oh, Jaylen Brown went quiet in the second half. He needs to turn up. They did that in that game versus the Timberwolves and won it for us in that overtime win. So I don't understand how we can be frustrated with that. The Celtics will win games getting blowouts and will also win games in the clutch, but fans still somehow want to see this team just succeed. They want this team to blow out every opponent by 30, 35 plus, and that's not going to happen. There are nights where the Celtics aren't going to be able to hit their shots. They're not robots. They're not perfect. We have to know that as fans here, that this team is going to be a top tier team, and we still have to believe in them, and there is no way to not believe in them. Like I mentioned, they've been able to beat Milwaukee. Yes, it was a close game, but Bobby Portis was hitting contested shots with Jaylen Brown and Xavier Tillman smothered on him. You can't stop anything about that. That's just good offense from the Milwaukee Bucks. Damian Lillard started to heat up, but the Celtics were able to win it in the clutch. And another comment here from Coffee and Donuts. They almost choked another 20-point lead last night. Yes, they almost choked a 20-point lead, but key word is almost. The Celtics fought back and won without their best defensive player in Jrue Holiday. A guy who was known as the Damian Lillard stopper was not there to guard Damian Lillard. And a guy as Al Horford is known as the Giannis stopper. Am I not wrong? They will be able to lock up these guys in the Milwaukee Bucks. And yes, did we see from this game that the Bucks are a lot better than we expected? For sure. If the Milwaukee Bucks face the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, will it be a good series? For sure. It will be a 6 to 7 game series. It's not going to be a cakewalk for the Boston Celtics, but we need to be confident. We need to believe, and we need to not worry about this team because I am for sure bought in. Like we mentioned, and I've been preaching, we have a tweet here from Patty Jank saying Celtics win big, but they can't win in clutch time. Celtics win in clutch time, but they didn't win big. These fans are exactly what you're preaching here. They are ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. You want the Celtics to win these big time games. You want them to blow out teams like the Wizards, the Pistons, which we do with a hospital-like roster. But then we play a game with like the Milwaukee Bucks, a good talented team without Giannis Antetokounmpo, and you're expecting us to win by 30, 35 plus? No. The fluke game between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics happened because the Celtics had to play versus Minnesota in overtime the night before, then travel to Milwaukee, and that week also played the Indiana Pacers 2 times in 3 days. Therefore, the Boston Celtics legs were absolutely crushed and they were tired. Therefore, that's why they got 40-pieced by the Bucks. If we look back at that matchup versus November, all the Bucks fans want to come out and say, we had Adrian Griffin. We didn't have a good defense. That was the full time that both teams were fully healthy. Both teams had new acquisitions. The Celtics having KP and Jrue Holiday. The Celtics have Damian Lillard. And the Celtics won that game by 3 points and clearly showed that their acquisitions could fit in and flourish with their system a lot better than the Milwaukee Bucks can. So therefore, I'm not worried. Yes, I think it will be a good series between the Bucks and the Celtics, but realistically, I still am believing, and we have to keep believing as well. Another one here from Calm Brad Stevens saying, Denver blows a 20-point lead in the second half in a back-to-back to the 2-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves, missing key players, but they won on a missed 3 from Anthony Edwards, and people are saying they're so gritty, they just know how to win. But Boston wins by 3, missing its best defensive player in Jrue Holiday over a 2 seed, and this team is in trouble. They can't close. That's the narrative that everyone wants to be pushing. Celtics fans, media narrative all overall in NBA basketball. The Celtics are clutch. We've seen ESPN talk about it multiple times of how this Boston Celtics team isn't clutch. The Boston Celtics have a 133 offensive rating in the clutch and a 60 defensive rating in the clutch. That means that they are absolutely fantastic as a unit in the clutch and can win games. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derrick White, Jrue Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Sam Hauser, any one of these guys, Al Horford, can go off for the Boston Celtics in a necessary game in the clutch, and that's what we need to see. I don't want to see any more overreacting. I don't want to see any more slander on our squad. The Celtics are not robots. They're not perfect. They're not going to win every single game by 30 to 35 points. But the fact that this team can beat the bad teams in blowout wins like we saw on Sunday and Monday versus the Pistons and the Wizards on a back-to-back, but still come up clutch and win big-time games with their 2 superstar players really taking over and turning up in the fourth quarter, and Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum in this game, and we saw it versus Minnesota in overtime. It makes me feel confident that if the Boston Celtics get into this playoffs, going into a Game 7, if it's a close game, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum are not going to let up on this home court. Let's not forget to mention that no Eastern Conference team has won a single home game versus the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are perfect at home versus Eastern Conference opponents and have a 10-game lead in the Eastern Conference. No team's going to catch up to the Celtics team. They're going to have that first seed locked up, and every single playoff series that it comes down to, if they need that extra game, it's going to be at home for this Celtics squad, who I mentioned have yet to lose versus an Eastern Conference opponent. I don't know why everybody's freaking out. We need to be locked in. We need to know that this team is going to do it and that this team is going to give us what we want to see. A deep playoff run, and we have to believe because they can blow out games and they can score in the clutch. Lastly, before we wrap up this video, again, we're doing the comment of the day. If you guys are new here, if you guys have yet to see, check out the comment of the day. It's a big thing that we're starting off here. If you want to be featured on it, let us know down below in the comment section what you think about this Boston Celtics team and how Boston Celtics fans have been talking. But we got a comment here from our guy in Hand Constructed saying, I love to see Jrue finish his career in Boston. P.S. Anybody else surprised that this guy from the office hosts a Celtics podcast? And I thought that was kind of funny. I've seen a lot of comments like that. I'm pretty sure he's talking about this guy, John Krasinski, who is from Boston as well. Let me know if you guys think down below in the comment sections if we look alike. I think we kind of do. Definitely has that little bit of movie star-esque in him, so he might be looking a little bit better. I'm not going to cap. But John Krasinski, I think that's hilarious. We have been compared back to back. But yes, Jrue Holiday, would love to see him extended in Boston. I think that he can. And he's a guy, again, like we've mentioned, he takes a little bit of a pay cut for the Boston Celtics. If you missed that video, check it out. It'll be linked at the top. You can check that out. We broke that down yesterday. And the Celtics bench also has been absolutely fantastic. Bench has been dominating the field this season. Let's look at this. A 12.4 net rating for the bench this season compared to the rest of the NBA, where there is his best is a 1.9. Payton Pritchard has been on fire recently. Luke Kornet has stepped up tremendously for the Celtics. Xavier Tillman's looking like an offensive beast, being able to be a fantastic playmaker and just knows where to be in the right spots. And Sam Hauser hopefully comes back from injury tonight and can be a key shooter for this Celtics squad. Like I mentioned, if you guys enjoy Celtics content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you guys want to, we are doing a watch-along live stream tonight versus the Detroit Pistons. So if you guys want to come check us out, watch the game alongside me, you guys are always welcome to. Like I mentioned, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode here of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.